Hello everyone, my name is Grethate here from 01gaming.com and noobcastgaming.com. It's Wednesday, and like I've said, I'm going to do news? Yep, here we go. It's going to be a short one this time around. So, if you haven't heard by now, Sony is working on a Smash Brothers duplicate type game that would be on the PlayStation 3. Well, it would seem that one of the sound directors inadvertently linked on his LinkedIn profile that he worked on the sound profiles for PlayStation Allstar Battle Royale for the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation Vita. Yep, you heard it. So the game that's been worked on for the last 2 years for the PlayStation 3 to be a cartoony type, rock'em sock'em type game is going to be not only on the PlayStation 3, but it will be a handheld on the Vita. There was hints that this game would show up at E3 as a Vita release, but there was no confirmed news regarding that. Not only that, but one has to wonder, does that mean that you're going to be able to port your data from the PS3 and the Vita? That's been a feature that's been showing up in some games recently, where you could take your game content for one console and bring it to the other and vice versa. One would think that you could do that, right? Well, Capcom seems to be up to their games again. Well, it's not so much of a game per se, but it's definitely newsworthy. So what's going on over at Capcom is the Capcom chairman and CEO had some of his quotes recently translated, and it's very interesting to hear this. He actually said, "We want to reduce the time needed to develop major titles from the usual 3 to 4 years to 2.5 years. Speeding up development will probably raise the cost, but creating quality content will be vital to Capcom's ability to survive the overcoming intense global competition." So basically what he's saying is some of the major titles that Capcom has came up with over the years, they're trying to put more money towards those development costs to try to get those games out sooner. What that means for us is we will be seeing, for certain, a Devil May Cry, but we might see some additional Capcom franchises that were really popular pop up again. Hopefully, if they do that, there's no spin-off type games because, well, we know how spin-off games go. So what that means is just work on the sequels to the main franchises, please. Those usually work, and I would love to see what Capcom has to offer. Really, I would. And I'm sure a lot of other gamers would agree with me. And for the last bit of news, this might come as a shocker. Well, no, it probably won't. But Diablo 3 is the fastest selling PC game of all time. The game sold 3.5 million copies in the first 24 hours the game was on sale. The game also brought in an additional 1.2 million as part of the World of Warcraft annual pass. In the weeks since its launch, Diablo 3 has had over 6 million players log in, crawl around the different dungeons the game has to offer. Blizzard's CEO Mike Morhaime had this to say: "We are definitely thrilled that so many people around the world were excited to pick up their copy of Diablo 3 and jump in the moment it went live." Going further, he speaks about the server issues. "We also regret that our preparations were not enough to ensure everyone had a seamless experience when they did so. I want to reaffirm our commitment to make sure the millions of Diablo 3 players out there are having a great experience with the game moving forward, and I would also like to thank them for the ongoing support." Well, yeah, that sums it up. Diablo 3 has been an absolute thriller. There are still tons of streams that you can find on places like Twitch TV. If you sub to a lot of video game channels on YouTube, chances are your sub box is full. And I do mean full of Diablo 3 content. All of it's really interesting. The most interesting recently is the new cow level. There's some of that out there. Some of the larger channels out there have some great views of this. My favorite is probably the one that comes from the Yogcast. I might have to suggest checking that one out. And that's all I've got for today. If you have any comments, whether they be positive or negative, please leave them in the comment section down below. And if you like the video, please give me a thumb or please subscribe. I would certainly appreciate it. I'll be back on Friday. Hopefully there is some more news out there. Trying to dig up some of these stories and what to talk about is getting pretty slim. And like I've discussed in the comment section in a previous video, a lot of that might have to do with E3. I don't know. We'll see what Friday has to bring. Anyways, see you next time.